This week's Global Travel Update presented by Rosetta Stone, helping you speak freely worldwide.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Global Travel Update. Hope you're having a great time wherever you happen to be. We're coming to you from a place that most Americans don't even know where it is. It's in, it's in Africa, and it's an amazing place. I'm coming to you from Windhoek, the capital of Namibia. And for those people who use the word over-tourism a lot, when it applies to places in Europe and other places around the world, that is not the problem here. Namibia probably has the least population density of any country in Africa. It is wide open, beautiful country, amazing desert, amazing wildlife, unbelievable, almost surreal seacoast for those people who know the Skeleton Coast. And I'm over here doing one of our projects, but it is quite a remarkable place. I've been a number of times. And for those people who do have a map and take a look at where we really are, the last time I was in Windhoek, I was on my way to one of the most isolated islands in the world, St. Helena, smack dab in the middle of the South Atlantic between Africa and South America. And where's St. Helena? It's an overseas territory of Britain, about 4,000 people, truly isolated. For those people who are history buffs, it's the island where Napoleon was exiled and where he died. For those of you who remember the Napoleon story, you may think he was exiled to Elba, but he was. But then he escaped and fought the British at the Battle of Waterloo. He lost, and the British were so pissed at him, they decided to send him to the one place he could never escape. That was St. Helena. He got there in 1815, died in 1821. Still an amazing place to visit. And you fly there right from Windhoek out over the Atlantic. But today we are in Windhoek, not flying anywhere because we're joining you with a lot of travel updates. So let's get to it. And let's talk about over-tourism for starters. There are medical emergencies in Europe. Let's talk about Greece, where they finally had to close the Acropolis earlier in the week simply because on 100-degree plus temperatures, 30,000 people trying to climb up to it, people were literally collapsing. The Greek government has a great solution for this. They want to limit people to 20,000 a day. That's not going to solve anything. Venice, of course, overcrowded for the summer. So is Barcelona. So is Amsterdam, and not getting any better. We're going to keep on top of that, of course. And we haven't even mentioned the Olympics coming to France in just a few weeks. It's going to be messy. I'll be flying out of Namibia tomorrow. It is not an easy place to get to if you're looking for seamless air links. The connectivity is not great. I actually got here at a very interesting routing: New York, Istanbul, Johannesburg, Windhoek. You could also come in through Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. You could also come in through Frankfurt, but that's how we got here, and that's how we're getting back. Now let's talk about some serious numbers. You want to talk about numbers? What happened just a couple of days ago? The TSA set an agency record for the most number of passengers screened through security checkpoints in the history of the agency. It was 2.9 million, and they expect that number to be exceeded day after tomorrow on Friday, as people are getting out early ahead of the July 4th weekend or the July 4th holiday. And what's interesting is, of the entire history of the agency, the top 6 most number of passenger screen days in history have all happened this year. That should give you an indication of how many people are going to be traveling and are traveling already this year. Crazy little story over Oklahoma City that we're still covering. Nobody's talking about what really happened on the Southwest Airlines flight about midnight as the plane descended way below its glide slope to about 525 feet over the city, scaring the hell out of a lot of people. It actually triggered an altitude warning in the tower. They went to the airline and said to the pilots, said, "You guys okay up there?" And of course, they immediately corrected, gave it proper thrust, and took off, did a go around, got back into the holding pattern again, and then landed safely. But this is the second time we had a Southwest flight drop below altitude minimums, one over Hawaii, which got down to 400 feet above the ocean, and here 525 feet over Oklahoma City. We will stay on top of that and let you know what really happened Uh, some of you may know that Amtrak is having its best ridership ever. That's good. What's bad is Amtrak is a train system that has never made a profit since it was started, not once. And they're supposed to put on new trains. They're 3 years behind on that. And yet, a lot of their executives receive huge bonuses for performance. Performing what? I'm a huge fan of Amtrak. I try to take it as often as I can, knowing full well it'll never be on time. That's not why I'm taking the train. I'm taking it for the time to be on the train and maybe read 2 or 3 books. But the point remains that our train system in America is going nowhere fast, literally. And for those people who are hoping for high-speed rail, keep hoping. Remember, Amtrak doesn't control the tracks. In most cases, it's controlled by the freight lines, who couldn't care less about high-speed rail. I wish Congress would make train travel a national mandate, figure out who really has priority on the tracks, which should be Amtrak, then start improving the track conditions, which would allow safe high-speed rail. Of course, you've heard about the other projects in the United States, maybe doing a north-south high-speed rail system between, let's say, Los Angeles and San Francisco. By the way, everybody loves the idea. Every mayor of California loves the idea, with one condition that they all put in: as long as the train stops in their city. So much for high-speed rail. It just became a local. We have to figure out better tracks and then better scheduling that would allow high-speed rail to be on the tracks, maybe three trains a day, and the rest could be local. But right now, we are years away from getting anywhere near that, and that's too bad. Hey, technology to the rescue, maybe. The United States State Department has now announced they're starting a pilot program. By the way, this is the second time they've started the same program to allow you to be able to renew your passport online. Is that going to be great? Maybe. Is that going to save you a lot of time? For the moment, no. They're estimating, even on an online renewal, to take 7 to 8 weeks to get it. If you did that today, there goes your summer. By the way, it's only for renewals, not for new applications. So if there's one lesson I learned from the movie Saving Private Ryan, it was not to be in the first wave. And so let them do their pilot program. In the meantime, just apply for the passport the old-fashioned way, and we'll find out if online is actually going to be streamlined in the next couple of months. Okay, now, as you know, we do a number of television specials every year for public television, of course, on Amazon and Apple TV, either the Royal Tour or Travel Detective or our Hidden series. We recently finished Hidden Uganda, which is going to be airing later this year. And in that process, we went out on Lake Victoria to an amazing sanctuary. It's Ngamba Island, a beautiful, beautiful sanctuary and conservation trust for chimpanzees. And they just sent me an email that I wanted to share with you. Let's put that picture up, Anthony. Look carefully. Lake Victoria is flooding, and it's an existential crisis for this chimpanzee conservation facility. They desperately need your help to get enough money to be able to build water barriers and levees to be able to stop the flooding, because these chimps have nowhere else to go. I can tell you, you'll see the footage that we shot on our special. It's a remarkable facility. They need our help. And on the screen below, you will see the where you can actually donate to the Conservancy to try to save that island. Talk about rising water levels. That's the one place you don't want it. So again, the Chimpanzee Sanctuary and Wildlife Conservation Trust on Ngamba Island in Uganda. There, you see this thing going on your screen right now. I'll let it scroll through one more time. There it is. I hope that if you need any more information about that, just contact us on our website, petergreenberg.com. I know they will be thrilled to hear from you. They need all the support they can get. There it is right there, where you can donate on the screen below my face right there. And now, moving on, speaking of shows that we've shot, of course, Travel Detective Season 9 continuing to air on PBS, and of course, Amazon and Apple TV+. Here's a little preview of the latest episode.
This week on The Travel Detective, it's home to many Hollywood stars. You probably know that. And a lot of luxury shopping. You probably know that too. And of course, a few luxury hotels. But I'm going to take you beyond this playground of the rich and famous and the usual suspects and share with you some of my hidden gems of Beverly Hills. That's our cover story. Plus, pack your patience. I'll tell you about the worst cities across the U.S. when it comes to road rage. And then, I'll tell you about some lesser-known ways to fly to some of the world's most remote islands. I'm Peter Greenberg. All this and more on the next edition of The Travel Detective on PBS. Check your local listings.
And when you see that episode, I have a sad note to share with you. One of my tour guides, someone who's been on my show many times on the radio, and a good friend who used to be the president of the Beverly Hills Historical Society. He's in the show. Phil Savinick actually passed away a couple of days ago. There's Phil driving me around Beverly Hills in that episode you'll see on public television. We miss him terribly. We're very sad about the loss, but we can celebrate him. And he's a Beverly Hills native, born and raised there, with great stories of his childhood and what that city meant to him. So if you get a chance, please watch the episode. And we send very kind thoughts to Phil's family and all the people who loved him. He will be missed. And now let's say hello to a couple of people here. Let's scroll back up here. Hello to Jim and Harry. You guys are always first, although this time you're from Boston. So right back to you. Priya's watching from Chicago. Camilla's saying, cheers from the mobile office at South Mission Beach in San Diego. Okay, the mobile office. Okay, you're the digital nomad. Michael's saying, greetings from Ohio, heading to Paris soon for Bastille Day, and then the opening show of the Olympics along the Seine. Well, listen, our thoughts are with you too. It's going to be madness in Paris, but you can do us a favor, Michael. Let us know if they're going to have any water Olympic sports in the Seine, because even though the French keep telling us they're going to clean it up in time for the Olympics, I ain't buying it. The toxicity levels of the Seine, as romantic a river as it is, and it is probably known as the romantic river in the world. Who doesn't like walking along the banks of it? As you may remember, we actually sailed it all the way through the heart of Normandy not too long ago. Please let us know when you get there, Michael, if they're playing the Olympic Games in the water there, or if they have to move the venue. But have a great time when you're there. Hello, Gene from Tulsa. Melanie saying hi from Miami. Heading to Edinburgh on Friday to visit the Royal Yacht Britannia. You know what? For those of you who watch The Crown, of course, I was addicted to it. They did a great version of the Royal Yacht Britannia as a set. And I've had some experience on that ship. I remember the Royal Yacht Britannia on one of its last missions, which actually goes back to 1997, and the handover of Hong Kong from Britain to the Chinese. And the Royal Yacht Britannia sailed into the harbor. It was very much a pomp and circumstance, with Chris Patton, then the governor of Hong Kong, and Prince Charles for the handover. And then at the end of it, they were going to board the ship, which they did, and the Yacht Britannia sailed out of the harbor. People thought they sailed back to England, but the Britannia was in such bad shape, it only got as far as Macau. That was the plan, by the way. And from then on there, Charles and Chris Patton flew home. But it is a wonderful, when you go back and watch The Crown, they got it absolutely right about what life was like on that ship. And when you go on it, you'll see exactly why. So Melanie, you can report back to us as well when you get back from Scotland. Betty's saying hello from rainy and warm Florida. Wow, Dorothy's saying greetings from Bhutan. Nicely done. All right, Joy's saying going to Dubai in February, flying on Emirates. When should I purchase airfare and where should I sit on the plane for best comfort other than first class? Okay, here's what you haven't told me. Where are you flying from? Number one. And do you know the type of equipment you're flying on? Will it be a 777 or are you flying on their Airbus 380? That would be helpful to know. Then I can tell you where to sit. All right. Randy's saying greetings today from London. It's hot here as well as at home in Ann Arbor in the 80s, but hot for London, of course. All right. Hello, Peter. Hello, Morel from Mexico. All right. By the way, you can see on our screen where you can donate to help the folks with Ngamba Island, and I hope you will. Kim saying, just got back from 14 days in Sardinia. Nicely done. I'm sure that was crowded because it always is. All right. A couple of other things I want to share with you. And that is, I'm going to it right now. Oh, I know what I'm going to share with you. Hold on a second. I've been telling you guys about this for a number of weeks now. Still happening. We're still doing it. Can't wait to go. It's an opportunity for me to support my alumni association, the University of Wisconsin. Go Badgers. An amazing cruise in the Gulf, in the Arabian Gulf, going from Muscat in Oman all the way through the Emirates, stopping, of course, on the way in Bahrain, ending up in Dubai. It's going to happen this November. It's part of Go Hagen Travel. You'll see it on the screen how you can contact them for more information. I'll be on the ship. I'll be speaking a number of times and also serving as one of your guides. It's a trip I've done many, many times. It is magical. It truly is magical. And for those people who say, well, I don't want to go to the Arabian Gulf because of Gaza, my advice to you is please get a map. We're nowhere near there. And as a matter of fact, it's a very safe region. I was there, by the way, back in when they were reflagging all the Kuwaiti tankers during the Iran-Iraq war, and it was still a safe place to be. I remember driving down the entire Musandam Peninsula from Dubai all the way to Oman, and wow, what an amazing experience that was. When you're in the fjords, swimming with the dolphins, same thing's going to happen on this cruise. So please check it out. I hope you can join me. It all goes to support a great cause, and we'll see you in November on that. Again, on our screen will be the information on how to get more information on that. All right, moving right along. I'm going to scroll down here for a second. All right. Our friend Bruce Siegel saying, happy anniversary. Well, yes, it's true. They said it would never happen. They said it would never last. But this Friday marks my 5th wedding anniversary with my amazing, darling, wonderful, beautiful, nurturing, caring, and loving wife. How about that for sucking up? But it's all true. My wife, Hyundai, 5 years ago this Friday, we got married in Central Park, New York. Our first marriage, and I can honestly tell you proudly, our last marriage. Smartest thing I ever did. And I'm the luckiest guy. So, Bruce, thank you for reminding me that I have some presents to buy. All right, Judy says, will you be on that on that Oman cruise the whole time? And the answer is yes, I will. Yep. Okay. So that answers that question. And thank you again, Bruce, for reminding me about the anniversary. Let's go to some questions you guys have already asked, and they've been storing up this whole week. All right. Here's one from James, doing a cruise in Nassau or to Nassau in May, sailing out and returning to Port Canaveral, Florida. Do they fall into one of those countries that had that 6-month passport renewal? No, they don't. But what James is talking about is he has less than 6 months of validity left on his passport, and a number of countries will not let you enter with less than 6 months on your passport. The Bahamas is not one of them, but you know what? Why push it? You're not going until what? Did you say November? Yeah, you have time. Renew your passport now. Do it today. Seriously. Then you can have no worries whatsoever. All right. Scott's saying, do you expect that travel destinations will follow Alaska and Greece and start restricting cruise passengers? Yes, I do. The Prime Minister of Greece has already said he's thinking of limiting cruise ship arrivals to 2 islands in particular in Greece, Santorini and Mykonos. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, the last time I sailed to into Santorini, it was so nuts. I honestly did not leave the ship. It was just too crowded. Cruise ship arrivals in Greece, in terms of number of passengers, doubled over the last 2 years. And so they're looking at that. Now, some cruise destinations in Europe have already done that, but they've done that in cooperation with the cruise lines. It's just a matter of tweaking the schedules. So in Dubrovnik, which was getting crazy with so many cruise ships coming into the same port on the same day, now they've limited it. They spread it out. So you're never going to have more than one ship in at any one time. Smart way to go. Bermuda's done that already. Amsterdam is moving where the ships go. Venice has already moved where they're allowed to dock. So yes, Alaska hasn't made that move yet. But there are some days. I mean, how many ships are going to be in the Inside Passage this summer or going through it? I mean, we're talking 39. And when you have 39 ships transiting that area, it's inevitable that in certain ports like Juneau or Seward or Sitka or even Prince Rupert in Canada, you can have 3, 4, and 5 ships in the harbor on the same day. That exhausts the infrastructure. Not even enough bathrooms to cover the number of people who are coming ashore. That's not fun. So if you want to take a cruise to those popular destinations, I'll throw in St. Martin and St. Thomas while we're at it, not to mention Nassau. You know what? Before you book that cruise, even if you see an itinerary that you like, go through your travel agent and say, on the day the ship's in St. Martin or St. Thomas or Nassau, or if you're going over to Europe, in Croatia, in Venice, wherever you're going to be, how many other ships will be in port that day? And if it's anything more than 2, book another cruise or book another time, even on the same itinerary. You'll thank me, right? And the port will thank you. You'll have a much better experience. All right, keep going here. All right, Linda says, when should I book an awards flight from Miami to Charles de Gaulle using Virgin Atlantic miles flying Air France for early November? The answer for that is 3 months ago. Frequent flyer reward redemption is tough to begin with. We've talked about that many times on this update. November is not a bad time to go. Not everybody's going to France for a suntan then, which is good. But the airlines do tend to restrict the number of seats anyway. But look, there was a time when you had an award chart. You could actually look ahead to see when there was availability and what the redemption levels would be for that particular day on a particular flight. The airlines got rid of those award charts. You really like throwing the dice in the dark here. So you know what? You should be online every day checking out available dates in November for that flight. And if you see your redemption level, you didn't tell me what class of service you were going, though. She says, why are the additional fees so different? It's a sliding scale based on demand on each flight. That's one reason. It seems to depend on the amount of miles used. Yes and no. If I use 24,000, it's $413. If I use 50K, it goes down to $392. Same flights and dates. Okay, the fees that she's talking about are the taxes. The taxes are based on the class of service you're flying. Because here's the crazy rub here. You're supposed to be getting a free award ticket. Well, yes and no. Because the taxes that will be charged to you will be based on whether you had actually paid for a full fare ticket in that class of service. And that explains those fees, okay? But if you can get a ticket for 24,000 miles, go get it now. Are you talking 24,000 miles round trip to Paris on mileage? Stop watching me now and redeem it. That's an unusual one. I would grab it tomorrow. All right. I mean, that's something you should know. All right. Here we go. Okay. Oh, Adrian says, what's up with Bermuda, the State Department warning, and missing tourists? I think you're referring to the Bahamas and the missing woman tourist. I think that's what you're talking about. They already have a level 2 warning, not a warning, a level 2 advisory. Let's be clear, from the U.S. State Department on that. And what a level 2 advisory really means, let's be honest, is situational awareness. State Department has 4 levels of advisories, and they have them for every country in the world now, right? I've said this before. I'm sure it's well-meaning. I'm not trying to anger the State Department, but let's be honest here. You're painting with a very broad brush, and you're scaring the hell out of a lot of people, in many cases needlessly. Let's go through it. Level 1, travel with normal caution. What does that mean? To me, it means try not to trip and fall, right? Level 2, which is what the Bahamas has right now, is travel with increased caution. What does that mean? What it really means is, well, for most people, it means you're already putting up plywood on your windows, right? No, what it should mean is increase your situational awareness. And if you want to go somewhere at night, go with a friend or make sure you're going to a neighborhood you understand and you'll be fine. Most people, by the way, who go to the Bahamas never leave the resort anyway. But again, that's level 2. Level 3, which really means now at this point for most travelers, you're now hiding in your safe room, is quote unquote, reconsider travel. Again, they have a level 3 advisory now for Jamaica that says reconsider travel. They have it for parts of Mexico, but let's be honest. Has there been increased gang violence in those the locations? Yes. But who's the violence aimed at? It's gang versus gang, cartel versus cartel. Tourists have been off limits for like decades there. Again, situational awareness. Now, in certain parts of Mexico, Ciudad Juarez being one, and a few other places, you know what? You're not going to be going there anyway. But it wouldn't stop me from going to Cancun, right? It wouldn't stop me from going to Mexico City. It wouldn't stop me from going to there are 32 states in Mexico, folks. But Americans are given an advisory of a level 3 reconsider travel for the whole country. Makes no sense. Anyway, all right. Matthew's saying, greetings from balmy Syracuse, New York. Tayo says, what are your thoughts about traveling to Brazil and Sao Paulo, as well as northern Brazil? I genuinely hear people are worried about overall safety there. Okay, here we go. Broad strokes. Let's get narrowed down here. You want to go to northern Brazil? Count me in. You want to go to Fortaleza, and you want to go to Fernando de Noronha, the most amazing island in northern Brazil, where there are more spinner dolphins than people. The dunes in Jericoacoara, unbelievable, right? Not worried about your safety. By the way, Sao Paulo is just a crazy city. It's congested and crowded, a lot of fun. Same thing for Rio. The problem with Rio is once you get off the main street in Ipanema, right, or Copacabana, do yourself a favor. Don't put everything in your handbag with a big gold strap and just walk lazily down the street. It may get ripped off, but that doesn't stop me from going to Rio. It just makes sure that I know where I'm going and I'm going with somebody else. Simple as that. But no, I'd go to Brazil tomorrow. All right, let's keep going on. Some more questions here. Hold on. We'll get to them. Okay. Kate says, I've noticed nearly every time I fly, around 2 to 3 times a year, that my bag gets randomly searched. They take me aside and make me take all my things out and go through everything. When I was flying to the US from the UK, they even made me open my laptop up, and I was one of the only 3 people on the flight who got asked to do that. Okay, well, Kate, you're just unlucky. Happens to me all the time. And by the way, what's interesting about the laptop part, I mean, look, if you are getting a boarding pass and your boarding pass has on it 4 S's, you're going to get pulled out of line. That means you've been selected for secondary screening and searching, right? 4 S's. But in addition, you could be a random as you go through the metal detector. Happens to me all the time as well. I'm the lucky guy. But the reason why they make you open with a laptop in the old days, and nobody did this better than the Germans, they were smart about it. Everybody else is just going through security theater. What the Germans used to do, this happened to be both in Frankfurt and Munich, is that they would ask you to open your laptop up and turn it on, part 1, but they weren't done yet. At the end of the security conveyor belt, they had an electronic scale, and they would note your model number. They'd open up a manual, they'd put your computer on the scale, and if it didn't match completely what the manufacturer said its weight should be, you had some explaining to do, because there could have been a bomb in that computer. Smart security, handed to the Germans. It only took maybe 15 seconds, but you know what? Smart move on their part. Now they just ask you to open up the laptop. They're just asking you to open up the laptop, right? But anyway, it doesn't happen to everybody all the time. But listen, when I tell you this, Kate, if it happens to you every time you fly, then you know what? I've learned a lesson here. I'm not flying with you, but you'll be okay. Don't worry. All right, let's keep going. Lenora says, this December I'm heading to Spain, France, and Germany to spend time with friends over Christmas. I already know where I'll be in Germany and Spain, but France has me stumped. What are the best French cities to visit, at this time of year? Well, I mean, could you be any more general? First of all, how are you getting between the countries once you get there? Are you flying, or are you doing the smart thing and taking the train? If you're taking the train, you're going to get a Eurail pass before you ever leave the US, and now you have even more options of where you want to stop at a reasonable cost, because you can stop, hop off, stay, get on, and keep going. Then we can talk about it. So let me know about that, about whether you're doing the train first, and then we maybe can be able to fine tune some cities where you want to stay, or even visit for a day. Make it a day trip, then hop back on the train. Okay. George is saying, I will be traveling to Switzerland, Switzerland and Italy from the USA within the next few weeks for a month. I plan on getting an international plan for the time I'm there. How is the service around Switzerland? You know what? I've had the best cell phone service ever in Switzerland because they've got a great system there. But remember you talk about an international phone plan, I'm sure. Find out which SIM card works best and what they're going to charge you. You can get day passes. It's about $10 a day from Verizon or some of the other services. But for me, I carry T-Mobile, and T-Mobile has a great international plan that gives me access to about 140 countries, Switzerland being one of them, by the way, where you get free data and your phone calls are very, very inexpensive. So, and by the way, how many people are going to be calling while you're there, right? You use it sparingly. But anyway, the answer is good service that I know about in Switzerland. You didn't tell me about where in Italy, so I can't help you on that one. Okay. Emma, I have a long plane flight to Italy. Oh, everyone's going to Italy. Okay. And need to travel really light. I'm looking for an airplane pillow that will pack down nearly everything small in my bag. Most of the top-rated pillows seem to be made of bulky memory foam. Can you suggest something? Well, here's the thing about the pillows. The pillow has become the travel hack for people who don't want to spend money to check bags, right? You pack all your clothing neatly in your pillow. That becomes your pillow, and it's also your bag. It's not, and sometimes the airline will look the other way and not call it a personal item. So you could have a carry-on bag, a bag for your laptop, and your quote-unquote pillow. And by the way, it works. So check that out, and you save some money. All right, and it has dual purpose. All right, here's one from Matt. I'm traveling to Berlin from July 14th to July 16th, fast trip, and would love to get recommendations on which neighborhood I should stay during my trip. My plan is to see the sites and museums, but I also love experiencing local life. Well, here's the best thing about Berlin. Their municipal transit system is phenomenal. You stay in any neighborhood you want, and you hop on the train, you hop on a bus, and you go anywhere you want to go. But while you're there, do yourself a favor, go to a place called Catave. Everybody goes to London, they want to go see Harrods, right? To see the incredible food halls and this legendary department store. Well, in Berlin, it's called Catave. And you don't just go there to shop, you go there to eat. Head to the 5th or 6th floor, and you're going to see food halls that make Harrods look like nothing and to just go hungry. But again, hop on, hop off all over Berlin. This is not like traveling huge distances in Los Angeles between neighborhoods. It's very, very manageable. All right. Now let's go to the photo of the week. You got to love this one. Talk about waiting for the right moment to take it. Congratulations. Congratulations to, I'm going to try to pronounce this right name, it's Jay Capel, I think, or Jay Capel. Jay writes, my wife and I were married in a small Swiss alpine town of Engelberg. Quite a leap for two Texans, getting all the documents and approval of the Swiss government and the U.S. State Department. On our honeymoon traveling Switzerland, we discovered the majesty of the Matterhorn. There you go. And Zermatt, of course. And by the way, when we talk about cell phone service, The best cell phone service I ever had in Switzerland was in Jungfrau at the top of the mountain. I mean, they've got great service. The beauty of the clear Swiss sky, the majesty of the Matterhorn, and the adventurous spirit of the parasailer made for one of our cherished memories of that moment in our lives. Well, congratulations to you, Jay. And of course, if you think you've got a photo of the week that qualifies to be next to Jay's, just you know what to do. Photo contest at petergreenberg.com, and it'll go right up on the board. All right, let's move on let's quickly here while we have a few more seconds left. Sue's saying hi from Bellingham. Mary's saying hello from Ridgeway, Ontario in Canada. Best way to get to Croatia from the UK in August with an airline and car rental. Well, again, August is crowded, and why do you want to rent a car? Take the train. Take the train, and you can do it starting in London, right? Think about it. Take the Eurostar from London all the way to Amsterdam or Brussels, hang out there, and then continue on. Just be sure to buy your rail pass before you leave the U.S. It's be bought in conjunction with your airline ticket. Okay? All right. Sue says, when should I get airfare for Aruba February 15th from Seattle? Answer, not now. Unless February 15th, I don't think February 15th is President's Day. That may be the week later. And of course, February 15th is the day after the most overrated holiday of the year, Valentine's Day. But if you look right now online and you want to do some price comparison shopping, go ahead. But keep in mind, you're more than 6 months out, and the airline computer systems have not been re-updated to be able to allocate for their algorithms as to who flew to Aruba last February 15th and February 15th of 2022 to be able to project what the fares could actually be like in February of 2025. The good rule of thumb is anywhere from 54 to 60 days out, but that doesn't stop you from price comparing now. And then if you see a fare that's great, then you jump on it, right? That's how you do it. So, but right now, I think you're a little too early. All right. Hello, Lorena. Sorry you're joining late, but happy to see you. Okay, Tayo says, I took a domestic flight on Southwest recently, and they announced that standard pillows now count as your personal item. See, the pillow hack has been discovered. They are being very strict now. One personal item, one carry-on. Okay, there's one suggestion here. Just come dressed as a pillow. I'm kidding. But remember, some airlines have figured it out. Some airlines haven't. Okay, Gene says, what's the latest on the AA flight attendants' possible strike? All right. They're still in negotiations. The National Mediation Board is still involved. They have not declared an official impasse. And until they do, the flight attendants cannot officially call a strike. And even if they do declare an impasse, today being what, June 26th, if they declare an impasse, that means it's a 30-day period in which they can't go on strike, but they can possibly go on strike on the 31st day after that declaration. But there's still one tool in the president's arsenal. It's been used before by past presidents, and that is he can order the flight attendants, or in some cases the pilots, to go back to work and force arbitration. So we're nowhere near a real strike yet. But remember, it's a 30-day window once the impasse is declared. So if the impasse was declared tomorrow, then you'd have to figure out that they could call the strike starting July 27th. That doesn't mean they go on strike July 27th, but they could call for one, and that kind of gets right into your idea of flying to Canada on August 6th. You're right now in a gray area, but in 6 days you won't be. See what I mean? So roll the dice. Let's see what happens. All right. A couple of housekeeping notes. Of course, our radio show, I'm leaving tomorrow to fly out of Namibia. Not an easy flight connection, as you can imagine, but our radio show this weekend coming from the Waldorf Astoria in Orlando, Florida. So I hope I'll see you on the radio on Saturday. Again, Travel Detective Season 9, our latest episode featuring our cover story on the hidden gems of Beverly Hills. Hope you get a chance to watch that. And please think wonderful, nice thoughts about our friend Phil Savanick, who is actually on the show. And of course, I'll see you next week from a distant remote location, not Africa, but I'll surprise you nonetheless as we get into the July 4th weekend. So see you next week. Travel safely, everybody. Have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy the radio show on Saturday from Orlando. Anthony, thank you for helping me from Los Angeles, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.